Hello, is this thing on? Of course it's on. I'm the one that pushed the record button. But anyways, hey guys, not Xfords here, doing a video providing commentary over my favorite things in JoJo. So this chart was circulating around Twitter, I want to say about a month ago, and it's pretty much just all of your favorites in JoJo. And I think originally Medi did it, and I was like, hey bro, you got that template? And then I did it after about 2 to 3 hours of putting all the pictures in, getting all the pictures, and being very indecisive. And then a few weeks ago, Psychic Extremis, another really good YouTuber, I wish YouTube would suggest his videos more. He deserves more recognition. But I saw he posted on his second channel him providing commentary of his favorites chart. So that's where I got the idea from. So here we are today. And a lot of people would ask me, like, a lot of my most common comments and just questions on Twitter and streams and stuff is, you know, what's your favorite JoJo? What's your favorite part? What's your favorite villain? What's your favorite stand? And a lot of people want to know my favorites. So I thought this chart would sort of be the end of it, and I would be able to refer people to this chart. But no, I want to talk about it and tell you guys why these are my favorites. So starting off with favorite JoJo. A lot of you guys know this. It is Johnny Joestar. There's a lot of things for me specifically that are appealing about Johnny. His all of his imperfections, his selfish demeanor, and especially his contrast to Funny Valentine. But we'll get on to him next, as you guys can already see. Favorite villain, but not to spend too much time on all of these guys. I really love the whole setting of Steel Ball Run. Of course, it's my favorite part as well. And when you're first introduced to Johnny, if you guys are fans of Takahiko Inoue, the mangaka, he has a series called Real, and it's about wheelchair basketball. And as the name would imply, it very much is a very real story, learning about these characters and how they live with this disability of not being able to use their legs. And I think Araki did a really good thing making Johnny a paraplegic. I don't know, I just thought that was super interesting. Before I even got to Steel Ball Run, I mean, when I was still on parts 3 and 4, I knew about Johnny, of course, because I was on Twitter and everything. I would see pictures of him, and I just thought it was the coolest idea ever to make your main character have such a huge disability like that, not being able to walk. And of course, with the Western style and horseback riding, Araki was able to make it work pretty well. Except for just, like, really weird arcs. Like, go reread the Civil War arc. Like, I swear, dude, Johnny's using his legs off screen. It doesn't make sense. And especially in the Scary Monsters arc. Like, a lot of it is, like, Gyro carrying him and Johnny, like, leaping with his arms. But it's, like, there's a panel in, like, the Scary Monsters arc where Johnny jumps across, like, a canyon. It's like, you can't do that, dude. You don't have working legs. And as well in the Civil War arc, he's, like, climbing up into windows and stuff. So, there is a lot of cheese at some points. I mean, the part would be very different if he was a true paraplegic and really had all of the disadvantages, and like as we do in the real world. Like, Johnny wouldn't be as mobile, and he wouldn't be able to do all these things he does in these crazy stand fights. But I don't know, stories gotta happen, main characters gotta be able to do things, I guess. But again, very much the imperfections of Johnny appeals to me. Of course, he's just like, he's so innocent, but yet so not innocent, to put it blatantly. Like, do you guys remember at the end of Steel Ball Run, like, when he was fighting Diego, when he was using Tusk Act 4, like, Johnny was granted, like, this super incredibly powerful ability, and he doesn't think about it. He doesn't think about the consequences to his actions. I mean, when he's fighting Diego and he tries to hit him, he ends up just murdering, like, 3 innocent people. Like, 3 girls, and Diego was like, Johnny, do you know you just murdered these 3 people? And he's just like, he wasn't trying to. You can see the facial expression on him that's like, what have I done? I'm a monster. But then again, that's not going to really change anything about his character. That's just who he is. Johnny's a fucked up guy. But I could go on forever why I like Johnny. But yeah, his imperfections, his selfish nature, very much a real person. All the development you get around Johnny throughout all of Steel Ball Run, because we see obviously a lot like Koichi Hirose from part 4. We see the evolution of his character along with his stand. As he grows as a person, his stand grows alongside him. And Johnny just has a lot of great character development, and overall is my favorite JoJo. I don't think there will ever be another JoJo that compares to him. I mean, obviously my favorites do move around. Sometimes I might say Giorno's my favorite JoJo. Sometimes I might say Josuke. Maybe at the end of Part 8, I might even say Josuke Part 8. But I think always deep down, Johnny will be my favorite. And again, just the nature of his character being disabled and everything is... I don't know. I just like that about him. Anyways, moving on to favorite villain, we have Funny Valentine, the man himself. As recording this, I actually have a Funny Valentine video in the works right now. Some clickbaity title like, was Funny Valentine really a villain? Is Funny Valentine a bad guy? Question mark. Something like that it'll be. It'll be a fun video. But anyways, Funny Valentine. I really like him for his duality with Johnny. It might not seem like it, but you know, a lot of people really like Josuke and Kira Yoshikage for their sort of polar opposites. And you know, Johnny and Funny Valentine are very similar in that way. Johnny, of course, is a very selfish character doing things for selfish reasons, when Funny Valentine is completely selfless, quite literally sacrificing himself for what he believes is the greater good, with his D4C ability being able to be disposable and, you know, destroy as many of him as possible in order to achieve his overall goal. There's really not a selfish bone in Funny Valentine's body. he will be able to completely kill himself as long as he knows that there is going to be someone, not specifically him. You know, he's not going to have the same thoughts as him, the same, you know, they're not the same person. We learned that. We learned that with D4C. Of course, they're similar, but they're not exactly the same. They don't have the same life experiences as when Funny Valentine was like, I can bring you back a gyro, Johnny, but he's not going to be the same. He's not going to be the same gyro. So Funny Valentine will not kill himself, but die in pursuit of his overall goal, to protect America through the corpse parts. And I don't know. Funny Valentine's just a really appealing villain, design-wise, ability-wise. D4C will be coming up later as the favorite stand in Part 7, but just everything about Funny Valentine, it's weird. Within the past, like, year, I want to say, with the part, we'll make that a year and a half now, with the whole Part 4 anime and everything, I feel like it used to be a very common opinion that Funny Valentine was, like, the best villain. Like, Funny Valentine has always been my favorite villain since I finished Steel Ball Run, and I don't think that will change in Part 8, whoever the fuck this villain is, Kato. Kato's interesting, but still doesn't really, I don't think she will ever compare to Funny Valentine. But, what was I going on about? Something about D4C. What the hell was I talking about? Something about Funny Valentine. Okay, I guess I was just talking about how Funny Valentine will always be my favorite villain. Unfortunately, now I'm going to have to put this video into the editing software. I was hoping I could just record this in OBS and have it just be one huge video. Whatever, that sucks. But anyways, yeah, Funny Valentine, forever and always, you know, my number one. Oh, I do remember what I was talking about now. I feel like it was a common opinion that Funny Valentine is the best villain. Like, Funny Valentine was to a point kind of like super overrated, it seemed like. And with the recent Part 4 anime, I feel like a lot of people's favorite villain have shifted towards Kira Yoshikage, with the whole serial killer, you know, hidden in society, living a quiet life type deal with Kira Yoshikage. I mean, I love Kira, but now I wasn't too interested, or I guess that's not the right way to say it. It's interesting, but he's just not my favorite when we have someone as prolific as Funny Valentine in the story. But again, Kira Yoshikage is, of course, a great villain, but I feel like it kind of flip-flopped. Like, I don't feel like I see a lot of people saying Funny Valentine's their favorite villain nowadays, when a while ago, it seemed like everyone's favorite villain was Funny Valentine. But, yeah, favorite villain, Funny Valentine. Moving on to favorite part, we have the Steel Ball Run. And I think for most people's favorites list, if you see these on Twitter or anything, most people's favorite JoJo, favorite villain, and favorite part are all going to be the same. Like, some people who really like Part 5, it'll be like Giorno, Diavolo, Vento, Areo. Part 4, a lot of it will be like Josuke, Kira, Diamond is Unbreakable, favorite part. For me, just goes to Steel Ball Run. Just so many things about Steel Ball Run I found so appealing. It really shifted the story for me. JoJo was getting so stale of the Stand User of the Week formula present in parts 3, 4, 5, and then when I got to 6, since I read JoJo fairly quick, getting into JoJo within the past like 2 years now, starting on the 2011 anime, I was just like, oh, everyone's talking about this series, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. I watched Phantom Blood, I watched Battle Tendency, and as well as Stardust Crusaders. I was like, all right, I'm going to read the manga because I want to continue this. And after reading part 4, 5, once I got to 6, I was just so burnt out on the whole Stand User thing. I was like, wow, I don't know if I like this that much. But then when I got to part 7, everything changed. It really brought life into the series again for me. Yeah, again, like I said, all my favorite things about Johnny, the paraplegic main JoJo, this great villain that you're introduced to pretty early in the series, and of course being in the fandom at the time, I knew Funny Valentine was the villain, so it was kind of cool unfolding and seeing all of that happening. But especially just the setting, dude, the Western dynamic, the alternate universe equivalents, that was really awesome, seeing all these callbacks to all these old characters like Avdol and Stroheim, and of course all the main ones like Jonathan and Williams and Caesar's. Jerry was sort of a mix, I would say, between Caesar and William, just sort of a reference to the Zeppelis in general. Steel Ball Run was just great, man. Especially, I'm a huge fan of sports manga. Haiku, Kuroko no Basket, Slam Dunk, Real, I was mentioning earlier. They're all great series, and the dynamic of horseback riding, I just thought was so awesome. And how, while these stand fights are going on, there would be like entire chapters, not so much later on in Steel Ball Run, but in the beginning, there would be entire chapters that are just all focused around the competition, the race happening, and of course there would be some shenanigans going on with scary monsters or steel balls like affecting the riders in some way. But for the most part, very early on in Steel Ball Run, there would just be entire sections of chapters just dedicated to sections of the race, and I thought that was really awesome. And Steel Ball Run just for that reason and a lot of reasons, Steel Ball Run is my favorite part. Might change when JoJolion ends. I just really love the alternate universe in general, and it has a lot of things going for it. So we'll see how part 8 unfolds, and if we get another part after that, how that one was. But for now, I think Steel Ball Run will always be my favorite part. So enough talking about Steel Ball Run. Finally, let's move on to favorite JoBro. We have Bruno, Bucciarati, whatever you want to say. Again, there's a lot of reasons to like Bruno. I don't know if a lot of people would even consider him a JoBro. He's definitely more so a mentor type character, but he's still a friend. I think like the main JoBro of part 5 would probably be Mista. I feel like Mista and Giorno have a much more bro dynamic, more so than Bruno, but Bruno and Giorno's relationship is a much more serious thing, but I really love Bruno for his design, again, standability, his dedication to Passione, his dedication to his crew and his mission at all times. There's a lot of reasons to love Bruno, so definitely favorite JoBro. He doesn't have much competition either. Like when I'm stacking him up in my head, it's like, okay, I could give this to Gyro, but I really like Johnny a lot more than Gyro. I really don't like Gyro as much as the next. So I was like, okay, I've already had so much Steel Ball Run. Let's get some variety in here. So, and I truly do like Bruno more than Gyro as well. And then there's like Okuyasu, again, not one of my favorites, and Hermes or Foo Fighters or anyone from part 3. It's like, it's got to go to Bruno. I really love Bruno, especially in comparison to his competition. Yeah, he easily takes that spot for me. So favorite JoBro, Bruno. Moving on to favorite supporting character. It has to be Hayato Kawagiri from part 4. Hayato was just my favorite thing about part 4, dude. Hayato was just the best character. Part 4 really would not be the same without Hayato. Hayato was so awesome. His role that he played in part 4 and just sort of his confidence, his will, his detectiveness, I guess. There's probably a better word for that. But anyways, just Hayato's investigation and finding the truth to his where his father was, and also his very tragic ending. I mean, Hayato's whole goal is to find out who his father is. He knows that it's not him. There's another man inside him, but he could never like grasp the situation of stand powers and everything. It's just like, oh man, it's like like Hayato's like a three-dimensional being trying to, you know, fight on the plains with like these four-dimensional beings, like a stand user, dude. It's like Hayato's an ant trying to cooperate with human beings. Like, he has no idea what's happening really with these stands. I mean, I guess he can sort of make inferences and stuff, but he doesn't know that Crazy Diamond and Killer Queen are out here fighting. Very brave character, very amazing character. Like, I remember parts in part 4. It's like Hayato just does everything right, especially for a younger character. Usually they fuck things up and are very imperfect, but Hayato was just incredible. Hayato did things I would never think of, and it's just like, dude, you're always rooting for him, but at the end of the day, he does have a very, I mean, he sort of solves the mystery. He is the golden heart of Morio, or at least a part of it, and yeah, he breaks free of Bites the Dust. I love how the anime handled that, him visually breaking out of Bites the Dust chains around him, and he's free. Then he gets his nice final speech, yelling at Kira, saying like, "You're done." The golden heart, like, I can feel it. It's definitely here right now, and you have all the main characters around. Like, that was definitely probably the most emotional part of part 4 for me. Hayato, hands down, one of my favorite characters in JoJo in general. Really awesome little dude we have here. And if you think about this, when Hayato was going up against Kira with Stray Cat and Killer Queen when this fight was happening, since you can see Stray Cat, just imagine this from Hayato's point of view. All he was seeing was Stray Cat floating in the air. Funny stuff. So that's favorite supporting. Moving on, we have favorite crew. I know this might sound crazy, but I'm going with the Stardust Crusaders. If you would have asked me this a few months ago, I really would have said like Passione or you know, Stone Ocean Gain or something. But honestly, I've just had this new appreciation for part 3 through replaying a lot of the games and also rewatching and rereading a lot of Stardust Crusaders. I like it a lot more now than I did my first and even second experience. I like Stardust Crusaders just gets, I feel like it gets better every time you watch it. It's weird. But in comparison to all the other crews, like part 4, I mean, you have your gain of High School Misfits, Koichi, Okuyasu, and of course your random Rohan and Jotaro and stuff. And then in part 5, you have like the whole Passione group. They're all really similar, kind of, in a way. Not really personality-wise, but they're all gangsters. Okay, they all joined the gang to sort of give their life purpose, or because they felt like they owed it to someone or themselves. So, and again in part 6, you're all prisoners in jail. You kind of all have a common theme. In part 3, it's just like this biggest gain of misfits and just people who have no connection, just like joining up together. Of course, other than to defeat Dio. I mean, you have Kakyoin, high school student, similar to Jotaro in a way. But then you have Polnareff, this French dude who just joins the group, and you have Joseph, just this random old guy who meets up with Jotaro and is like, "Hey, dude, you're my grandson. We need to go fight Dio." And then he brings along his friend, Egyptian fortune teller, into the group, and it's just like, why are these people working together? Of course, for the greater goal, but it's just like, they're just all so different, but the way that we see them get along and everything, because, you know, a lot of the, except for say like part 6, but a lot of like part 5 characters, like, they all knew each other before we were introduced to them, and same with characters in part 4 as well. Well, mostly it was just Josuke and Koichi, but anyways, we see these characters' relationships develop like the entire time. Like, we see all really their interactions, and a lot of these characters die in part 3, so it's like, damn. We saw this relationship grow and turn into something truly special. And of course, I had to pick the image of Jotaro in part 5, reminiscent on the past. That's a great panel. But yeah, I really like their designs right there, although they're all kind of like chibi. Yeah, that's a great photo. Great photograph. Okay, moving on from favorite crew, moving on to favorite stands. Favorite part 3 stand. We have Judgment. I know, sounds weird, right? You know, I could have picked the World, Star Platinum, Silver Chariot, or anything, but I'm going with Judgment. Again, I've been sort of looking back on part 3 a lot recently in retrospective, And Judgment was actually a really cool arc. I didn't really appreciate it much at the time when it was happening, because a lot of the stuff with Part 3, I was like, dude, what is this? Like, Polnareff's Bizarre Adventure? Why is Polnareff getting so much screen time? I really like Jotaro. I want to see what he's up to. But, so I didn't really appreciate the arc at first, because I just kind of wanted to get it over with. But now when I look back at it, Judgment is really awesome. And the thing that kind of inspired me to go back and reread this arc and rewatch and everything was in Part 5, I think, when Polnareff is on the verge of death or something. He's sort of reflecting on his life, and he's like, I'm so glad I got to do all these things. And there's a picture of, like, all of the Crusaders and everything, and there's Judgment. Like, the one stand Araki chose that was most memorable for Polnareff was Judgment. And I guess this arc did have a lot of development for his character, sort of, although he kind of already did have closure with his sister. With the whole Jay Guile thing, he really got to murder him good, sending him down face first down a pole. But he really got closure to his sister and really accepting that she's gone in the Judgment arc. Judgment was cool too. It's of course inspired by, like, Aladdin. Of course, you have this genie that grants wishes, and of course its design is also inspired. I think I have the image up here. The character's name is Cyborg 009 from. I'm not a huge Kamen Rider fan, but that's what he looks like right there. You can see the similarities between him and Judgment, kind of. But I don't know anything about Kamen Rider at all, but just in Araki's notes, it was like, yeah, his design was inspired by Kamen Rider and Kikaider or something. I think it's pronounced something like that, but that's where his design comes from. Judgment, cool stand. Moving on to Part 4, we have Killer Queen. Really not much to say about Killer Queen other than I fucking love its design, I love its ability, and I love its stand user, and Killer Queen is just overall awesome. Mostly it's the design. Killer Queen just has, like, by far one of the coolest designs in the entire series. Favorite Part 5 stand? Sticky Fingers. Again, my favorite stand in all of JoJo. The mundane ability of zippers being used in this, being turned into this crazy stand ability is just fucking interesting. Creating doorways, creating pocket dimensions. Design-wise, Sticky Fingers as well is awesome. Its user is Bruno as well. It doesn't have, like, a really deep meaning in its ability. It's just like, oh, yes, this album cover has a zipper on it. How can I make a stand ability off, like, the most mundane thing possible? And Araki pulled it off, and that's what I love about it. So, Sticky Fingers, awesome stand. Awesome stand. Moving on to Part 6 favorite stand, we have Heavy Weather. Heavy Weather is interesting because, of course, it's like the evolved version of Weather Report, and not so much the ability of Heavy Weather I like sort of how it turned the series into utter chaos, and it just sort of added an X factor into the current situation. Like, oh my god, we're being affected by subliminal messages now, just everything is fucked. It just sort of brought everything that was happening to a screeching halt. It's like, okay, we have to deal with Heavy Weather now. And of course it was happening, like, while Pucci was in the midst of fighting, so it's like, all of this is happening all at the same time. It was just an X factor, I guess, that got brought in. Of course, I really like the flashback arc with West Bloomerang. When he was sort of trying, he was depressed by his lover's recent passing. So he tried to kill himself, but he couldn't because he was granted the stand ability when Pucci got his stand as well. Of course, family members share stands. But X-Force, why didn't Koichi's stand get a? Why didn't Koichi's sister get a stand when he was stabbed? I don't know. But anyways, Pucci was stabbed. Weather got a stand, and he didn't understand it at all. He didn't even know what was happening. He tried to kill himself. He tried to drown himself in the ocean. He tried to shoot himself. He tried to jump off a bridge, but the weather always saved him. I thought that was a really cool thing. Anyways, favorite stand Part 7, D4C, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Fucking incredible design, incredible ability, immensely overpowered, and just its design is so terrifying yet appealing and comforting at the same time, I guess. Some Araki notes for D4C. He wanted the stand's silhouette to be different from all the other main villains. I mean, take a look at Whitesnake, Killer Queen, King Crimson. I mean, they're all like humanoid type stands. I mean, if you saw a silhouette of them, of course, you could distinguish them with Killer Queen's ears and Whitesnake's sort of crown, but Araki really wanted to make this stand's silhouette much different from all the other villains and stand out, and that's why I decided to give him the huge, giant bunny ears, as I like to call them. I like to think of Funny Valentine as a magician, saying the word "ta-da" in the form of Dojian, and sort of doing magic tricks with an American flag. Like, watch as I make this person disappear and send them into an alternate universe. Dojian. So yeah, I like to think of D4C as a giant bunny. Fits the magician theme. That's about it for D4C. Really awesome design, really awesome ability, good stand user. Favorite Part 8 stand? None other than Mamazuku's Doggy Style. If you're looking for images of this stand, either turn your safe search on or do not just search Doggy Style stand on Google because, yeah, a lot of pornographic images. But anyways, Doggy Style is really fucking awesome. Very new in JoJo as well. Like, his main fight is still happening, so I'm sure as the time of recording this, we're still going to see a lot more stuff from Doggy Style, which is cool. Can't wait to see that. Mamazuku, again, my favorite character in JoJo right now. He's fucking awesome. And Doggy Style, again, is just like stone free with limitations. Okay, stone free was just BS that could just do anything. This stand actually has limitations, and it does cool stuff, and it allows its user to do cool stuff too. So I really like Doggy Style for that. Design is alright, but mainly its ability is really cool. I love, again, the mundaneness that can be used in many ways. Like, the exact description we got for Doggy Style was it allows its user to peel his skin like an apple. But with that idea, you can do a lot of cool things. Moving on to favorite stand design, we have Soft and Wet. Soft and Wet is a very simple, nautical stand design, I suppose. But again, just very appealing. Fits Josuke's character design well, Kira Yoshikage's, which is strange because Kira Yoshikage's stand is Killer Queen, so his sailor uniform, I guess, turned into Josufume's stand. I don't know. Would have made more sense for like Josufume to have Killer Queen, I guess. Well, not really, because his name's not Kira Yoshikage. Ignore me. Cool nautical type stand, cool design, really appealing, very simple. Yeah, not much there. Just a simple and good design. Favorite stand ability, again, Sticky Fingers. I love this panel right here. You will never understand my feelings, Diavolo. You don't know what it's like to be human. So, Bruno right here, using his own body to create pocket dimensions, storing, I believe it was like a walkie-talkie or a phone or something, in his face to be able to communicate outside the building. Awesome ability for many reasons I've already talked about. Favorite animal, Iggy. Not a lot of other things compare. I mean, who else can we have here? Horace, Danny from Part 1 and Part 7, and maybe like Rock Dog from Part 8, or Rat, I guess. Iggy was just a clear choice for me because he's actually a character with development and everything, and I don't know. I don't even like Iggy that much, but I guess he's my only option. Favorite girl, we have Hato Higashikata. Definitely favorite girl from Part 8. Other people that could go here, most likely Kato. Once Part 8 finishes, I think Kato would take the cake for best girl. Used to like Trish a lot, not really anymore. I'm just gonna send it to Hato. Really awesome stand ability, really cool character, and she's cute. So Hato Higashikata. Favorite minor villain, we have Prosciutto. So many things about Prosciutto. I love his loving nature towards Pesci, how he actually cares about him. It's not just a facade, as well as his remarkable motivation and determination. Truly a gangster there. Like, oh, Mist is dead. Let me just, like that image right there that I put for there. Let me just shoot him like 4 more times in the head just to make sure he's dead. But of course it's JoJo, and characters are awesome at pretending to die. So Prosciutto's awesome. Survived in the tread of the train, whatever you would call that, the outside, the thing that moves. I know the word for it. I just can't think of it right now. Inside there, being absolutely mutilated his entire body, but still having the motivation to be able to finish the fight and kill these people that he doesn't even really have a personal grudge against. It's just his mission, but he's willing to do anything to accomplish it. Prosciutto, great minor villain. My favorite. Moving on to favorite fight, we have Damo Tamaki Vitamin C. Vitamin C is kind of cheating because the fight itself is so long and so much happens in it. Like, if you had to ask me favorite, I don't think favorite arc is on this list, but if you had to ask me favorite arc, it'd be between like Legend of Johnny Joestar, Sugar Mountain, and Vitamin C. Although Vitamin C shouldn't even count because it can, like, within Vitamin C is also the flashback arc of just like all of Josafume and Kira's past and like them fighting Damo for the first time. It's like the Vitamin C fight is like 2 fights in 1, maybe 3, but excuse me. Vitamin C is awesome. It's just a really long arc, really intense arc, horror-filled arc. Hato gets her shining moment in it as well. As much as I like Hato, it was really nice to see her get not the finishing blow. Josuke, of course, exploded his head, punched it really hard. But of course, Hato got to stab him up with her shoes a bit. I don't know how that man survived. Rock humans must be very durable. But favorite fight is going to go to Vitamin C. Awesome arc. Favorite pose, Noriaki Kakyoin. I really like that. Sort of the devil horns in the left hand and pointing upwards in the right. Just a really cool looking design. I did this pose in Plant Appraiser at Otakon a lot for a lot of pictures. You guys can check that out on my Instagram. But yeah, I like that pose. Not much else to that. A lot of other ones could have gone here, but I don't know. I just needed to make a decision. Again, with favorite fashion, this could have gone to a lot of people. I was just kind of looking at characters. I was like, fuck it, man. Let me give Wikapipo some love. I really like characters with ties. I don't know, just ties really appeal to me. Not so much bow ties, but definitely long, skinny ties. Again, the reason why I like Mamazuku's design so much. It's like, yeah, I'm a plant appraiser, and you can see that, but I'm also a professional, so I wear a dress shirt. Wikapipo, again, I don't know, really appealing design. I like the way he wears his hair, sort of the grid. This was just sort of a pick out of a hat, though. This could have gone to so many other characters. Just fashion in JoJo's great. Another thing I love about the series is the unique character designs and the inspiration that actual fashion in the real world affects the characters and the way they dress. Favorite death? Foo Fighters, which might seem a bit strange. Although Part 6 isn't my favorite, it does have a lot of my, favorite things in it. Although the part itself I'm not, like, crazy about. Foo Fighters' death was... I'll refer to Foo Fighters as she. She wasn't in the series very long. She definitely was, like, the quickest JoBro death, I want to say. I mean, what was it, like, Volume 10? Volume 11? Something like that, really early on. And, I don't know, just, like, her final words, like, really got to me. Like, this is my spirit. The exact quote was, like, my spirit is my intellect or something. And I think the last word she said was, I was alive. Like, I don't know, she got to live. This plankton that was just, like, a guard dog for Poochie. Made friends and felt like got to know what it was like to be a real person and have real feelings and care about people. Foo Fighters' death just really got to me. It was really sad, and just the way she accepted it as well. Like, it's okay, Jolene. Like, I had intellect. Like, that's all I cared about. I was alive, so I really love Foo Fighters. Moving on, All-Star Battle main, Funny Valentine. One of my favorite characters in JoJo in general, and he's just fun to play as, and I like hearing Dojan a lot, so there you go. Favorite battle cry, Wannabe by Spice Girls, for the sole reason that it's just a stand shouting the lyrics of their musical reference. Like, you can't get any better than that. Other than Wannabe, I guess I would go like, Adi, 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 Verdechi, but Wannabe just, like, easily takes it. That's a badass battle cry. Favorite voice, again, this could have gone to a lot of things, but, I really enjoyed the moments in Part 4 where we just got, like, Kuryoshikage monologues of him, like, clipping his fingernails and doing everyday life stuff, listening to the Moriocho radio, making breakfast and stuff. I think Kira's voice was spot on. I really liked it, although his voice, I don't know, favorite voice could go to a lot of people. Of course, there's a lot of parts that are yet to be animated that I'm sure will have good voice actors that are... I could have went, like, an All-Star Battle or Eyes of Heaven voice actor, but I don't know. Could have been anyone here, but again, I just really like Kuryoshikage's voice. Yeah, probably my favorite. Least favorite fight, we have Jailhouse Lock, or Jailhouse Rock. I think one of the translations call it Jailhouse Rock, but its official name is Jailhouse Lock. So this stand fight just pissed me off the entire time. It just felt like filler for no reason, and it was just annoying. I was yelling at the manga while reading it. I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. Just Jolene being able, like, it's a scary stand and all, only being able to remember 3 things, like, okay, my name is Jolene, I'm in prison, and I have writing on my arms. My name is Jolene, I'm in prison, and yeah, just that sort of cycle repeats. But it was just it was a very annoying arc. Could have been done better, maybe. Least favorite stand, Dragon's Dream, for the sole fact that I don't really understand it to this day, and I don't want to understand it because the fight pissed me off. Dragon's Dream, maybe someday I'll have a new appreciation for this, but as it stands, I have a lack of interest for the stand user, lack of interest for the stand itself, and I didn't like the fight. And I will still admit that I don't really understand how it works. Fuck Dragon's Dream. Moving on to least favorite crew. A lot of people might get on me about this, but I have to say Dwayne. I just didn't really care for a lot of the interactions between like Okuyasu, Josuke, and Koichi. I know a lot of other people do, but I don't know. Like when I just compare these two to like Stone Ocean Gain, Passione especially, and my new appreciation to the Crusaders, it's like, yeah, I don't really care much for the part 4 Gain. They just didn't really appeal to me that much, I guess. Simple as that. Can't really think of any other excuses. I just didn't really enjoy a lot of their conversation and stuff. They were just like stupid kids. I mean, some of their parts did make for like funny interactions, like them getting to know like Shigechi and stuff, and like going scheming with him. So I don't know. I didn't think JoJo fit well with like the slice of life. Slice of life injected into it, I guess. So part 4 is still one of my favorite parts, but I don't know. I don't think Slice of Life went well with JoJo for me. Although Slice of Life is one of like my favorite series, and I watch a lot of them and read a lot of them. But yeah, it's my least favorite crew. Least favorite part 1. Not a huge fan of the big Victorian setting, the original theme it had with the zombies and vampires and stuff like that. Again, really don't like a lot of the earlier parts 1 and 2 with the undead creatures and everything. Pillarmen were awesome, but part 1 didn't really appeal to me. There wasn't a lot of things that I liked about it. Yeah, I could go on more about that, but let's get this over with. Least favorite villain, Dio Part 3. Dio Part 3 and Dio Part 1, very different monsters here. Dio Part 3, I just thought was not very appealing, I guess. There's a lot of reasons to like Dio, but in comparison to like Kiryu Yoshikage, Diavolo, Funny Valentine, Pucci, and everything, I think Dio just fell short. Not to say he's a bad villain or anything, but Dio's just not my favorite. Least favorite JoJo, again, Jonathan Joestar. Not a bad JoJo by any means, just my least favorite. Not a lot of appealing things to him. I've talked about Jonathan a lot. I've made videos completely dedicated to Jonathan, but for me, not my favorite JoJo. It'd probably be a tie between him and like Joseph, and maybe Jolene. Those are probably my least favorite JoJos. But anyways, that is my list of favorites and least favorites in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Very informal video here. If anyone wants to know the music, it was the Hotline Miami OST. Search on Spotify, you can find the playlist, or just YouTube. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Feel free to make one of your own, make your own one of these and post on Twitter. You can probably find a template somewhere online. I will be sure not to provide it for you in the description. But yeah, just be sure you have to have like Photoshop or anything to edit this. So thank you, Psychic Extremist, for the idea of providing commentary to this list. And all right, thank you guys for watching.